Anthony, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I switched over the mics again.
Welcome, everyone. I see we're emphasizing quality rather than quantity tonight. We appreciate your presence. And I call back to order the March 23rd regular meeting of the Palm Desert City Council, successor agency to the Palm Desert Redevelopment Agency and Housing Authority. May we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Harnick.
Moment. Present, and please note that I am participating remotely for Just Cause in accordance with AB 2449 due to the need to provide family care. Thank you.
Councilmember Nestevi.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla.
Present.
Councilmember Truby.
Here.
Mayor Kelly.
Here.
All councils present.
I invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla's inspiration. Ready?
In celebration of Women's History Month, I encourage everyone to take a moment to reflect on the strong women that we know and love in our personal lives. Let us acknowledge that their fortitude brings us inspiration in difficult times and strengthens our resolve to persevere. In present, we know that many women are recognized for their achievements in greater numbers that they have in centuries before, but we still have work to do. In 2017, women made 83 cents for every dollar that a man did. And by 2020, it only rose to 87 cents. Today, women have the right to vote because of the suffrage movement, and we are free to be vocal about causes that we believe in. Let us find inspiration in such women, especially those that risk their lives for the present that we live in today, such as Harriet Tubman, who saved countless lives and helped shape the diversity of our nation, and Marie Curie, who defied the norm as a scientist in a male-dominated world, earning a Nobel Prize in 1903 for physics and a second one in 1911 in chemistry, and became a pioneer for radiology. We honor trailblazers such as Isabel Perón, who was the first female elected president in all of the Americas, where she earned 62% of the vote in Argentina. And Palm Desert is proud to be the home of our very own Rosie Casals, who changed the world of tennis and continues to mentor others. I leave you with my two favorite quotes. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. But my favorite, well-behaved women seldom make history.
Of course, the Palm Desert Council's an exception because we're all so well behaved. Do we have a report from closed session?
Yes, we do. Direction was given, and also the council unanimously approved a new lease with Coachella Valley Association of Governments. Thank you.
We have two proclamations, and I'm going to switch the order so that we can continue Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla's theme. This is Women's History Month, and Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla and I wanted to in some way acknowledge all of the women in Palm Desert who are currently making history. We chose someone whose life story to date, which is only beginning, really illustrates why this council has been so consistently committed to our CSU Palm Desert campus becoming a freestanding campus. So as a representative of all the Palm Desert women currently making history, we invite forward Dr. Abasinia Rodriguez to receive a proclamation. And I hope this brief proclamation captures details that will further inspire many. Whereas, as the child of migrant workers, Dr. Abasinia Rodriguez overcame many obstacles to pursue a higher education, including advanced degrees culminating with a doctorate in education from CSUSB. And whereas Dr. Rodriguez returned to the Coachella Valley to encourage and inspire students with backgrounds similar to hers, beginning as an outreach specialist at College of the Desert and progressing to her current position as the interim assistant dean of student engagement at CSUSB Palm Desert campus. And whereas both her teaching and administrative work has had a very positive impact on the confidence of first-generation college students, enhancing both student recruitment and retention. And whereas these successes have enabled Dr. Rodriguez to secure a major grant to support her further work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Kathleen Kelly, Mayor of the City of Palm Desert, along with the entire City Council, do hereby commend Dr. Abasinia Rodriguez in this Women's History Month as a woman making history and proclaim today as Dr. Abasinia Rodriguez Day.
I'm very appreciative of receiving this today on behalf of CSUSB. You know, every morning that I drive up Cook Street and I see our beautiful campus, I think about all the students that we've impacted in the Coachella Valley. Currently, we're at about 2,200 students enrolled at the university. And every day that I'm there working with my students, working with the staff, I think about all the great things that are coming, right? We have a new building coming up. We have more students that are going to be joining us in the fall and beyond. We're growing our programs, and I can't wait to see what our students are going to do. We have accountants, we have nurses, we have doctors. We haven't had, our students in the Valley don't have an option for a four-year university besides CSUSB's Palm Desert campus. So we can start our students here as freshmen, continue on to get their master's, or like myself, continue and get their doctoral degree. So I'm so excited and I'm so thankful for receiving this award, and I can't wait to see what happens. And thanks to the city for all the work that you do, supporting our campus and supporting our students. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I would like to continue the praise to Dr. Avicenna Rodriguez for the work that she has done. I had the privilege of working with her and have seen her tireless dedication, the extra hours, the extra personal connection that she gives to students to help them succeed, not just helping them plan an educational program, but having a true investment in their success and knowing how it ripples forward to impact our entire community.
And following that inspiration, I know you are all super eager to know how you can help make history. So I have an answer in our second proclamation this evening, proclaiming Water Conservation Month. Whereas the city of Palm Desert, in conjunction with the Coachella Valley Water District, continues to explore ways to conserve water. And whereas the city of Palm Desert recognizes that how we manage water today will affect our future generations. And whereas from April 1st to 30th, 2023, Palm Desert wishes to inspire its residents to take the Wyland National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation by making and keeping a series of online pledges to reduce water impact. Whereas by leading by example, the city of Palm Desert can become a better environmental steward for our residents and neighbors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we do hereby proclaim the month of April in the city of Palm Desert Water Conservation Month and urge all residents to participate. Now, I'm sure as you came in this evening, you appreciated the gorgeous, lush, attractive entrance to the council chambers. I'm pleased to announce to you that our resourceful staff is now working on possible designs that will be equally attractive and lush with vegetation that's less water dependent. So we are taking the lead in doing our part. And there are some very simple, financially beneficial steps residents can take. Every single customer of CPWD is entitled to a free water conservation kit. It has shower nozzles and nozzles for outdoor hoses. So I encourage you to either pick that up at their office or go to their website, where I can testify, having just done it. A simple form is available to request your free, did I say free? Water conservation kit. And while you're on the website, check out the options for support that's available to make water smart upgrades, such as smart controllers that will turn themselves down or off in response to weather conditions. So we'll be pushing out more information on social media, but there's a couple of highlights for you. Any city manager comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to take an opportunity to introduce council to Jess Culpepper, who's joined our team as our new Director of Capital Improvement Projects. Jess and his team can be responsible for delivering approximately 80 capital improvement and facilities projects. So no small job. And I also wanted to mention while Jess is here, that we've also elevated Ryan Gaylor behind him to Capital Improvements Manager. So Ryan will be working closely with Jess in delivering that program.
Congratulations to you both. Mayor, council member reports and requests for action, beginning with council member Nestande.
No comments this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My brief report includes that the Children's Discovery Museum is moving right along as one of my boards and committees I attend. And the other is that as a member or representative of the Cal Cities Environmental Quality Policy Committee, it was interesting to see some of the environmental initiatives coming forward. And as the future greenest city in the Valley, I want folks to contemplate textile recycling. And also learning that with lithium batteries, it's not just the lithium that can be recycled, but a lot of the other components. So just things to think about as we consider and contemplate recycling. Thank you.
Councilmember Truppi.
Thank you. Yep, just have a quick report and actually request for action. I did have the chance to attend the Fashion Week this past Monday for the first time in my life, and it was incredible and wonderful and really the amazing amount of energy. And I had no idea the scale and scope of that thing and how it, really broadcasts the world about our wonderful signature shopping street, El Paseo, and our city. And it gets our name out there. And I'm just really proud that that event takes place in our city. And Mr. Jones puts on an incredible event and really, really neat event. Second is the attending the Parks and Rec meetings the past few months. There's been a little bit of a buzz about the library. And, our Palm Desert Library, if you know, they're on the COD campus, about half of it sits empty because it's, owned or operated by College of the Desert. And so I just actually took an impromptu tour of the library that afternoon. I said, well, I want to go see for myself what it's all about. And it's a beautiful facility. And it was Wednesday afternoon, and it had an amazing amount of activity. For that time of day. I was really actually kind of surprised when you think about all the alternatives there are to libraries nowadays, like TVs and phones and all this good stuff and Google. So I would like, if I could, just to get a little more, because we have a contract with Riverside County to run the library. We have an agreement with COD on use of the building. And if you don't mind, I know staff is busy on lots of other projects. However, I would love to know if we could have a presentation at some point, because I'm having a hard time getting really down to the bottom of really the nuts and bolts of our agreement with both entities. And it just seems like I'd like to see it fleshed out in black and white, if you don't mind, for the council's purposes, because it's a beautiful resource and a beautiful facility that I'd like to see if we can exhibit a little more control over, or maybe have a little more say so in its operation. So,
Mr. Heilman, am I correct that there's already some research underway?
Yes, I've got staff working on kind of a history of the library development, how it was initially constructed, the obligations of all parties. I'm happy to bring that back to you.
perfect. Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Harnick.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple things, and yes, Fashion Week has been great. It's great to see such excitement going on and such an asset to our city. Recently, the mayor and I both went to the Dr. Carrion Foundation to see all the great work they're doing and how many students they've assisted and how many more they will assist. It's really impressive what they're doing for our entire region. And of course, we always benefit when the region benefits. Also, we had a roundtable with Attorney General Bonta. It was members of the Coachella Valley who came together and met with him, and over at the Live to Rise offices. And we were there really just to talk about housing, but most importantly, the obstacles that are in front of us when we're trying to build the housing, and how he might be able to help us. I'm not sure where we're going to go with that, but to remove some of those obstacles so we can get those houses built. And then the week before last, we had a tour with Southern California Association of Governments with members from throughout the region. And we toured in Palm Desert, and we went to Sunline to see what amazing work they're doing over there. We also, as the mayor spoke of earlier about the great work that the Coachella Valley Association of Governments is, Coachella Valley Water District is doing. We went over there and everyone was very impressed. We went over off of Hovely to see all the great work that's being done and all the recycling of water and how important it is to our golf courses. And it's really been an asset with what they're doing. And then, of course, we went to San Pablo because SCAG started out with us, I think in 2015 or 2016 on the San Pablo project. That was the impetus for the project. And we toured several other things. We had great presentations at the CSUSB by the dean for the Palm Desert campus. And it was really a great tour with great reaction. And I think that's what I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. I shared several of the events mentioned with my colleagues as well as others. I was privileged to represent us at opening day for baseball and softball programs for our youth. And I want to reiterate here how much Palm Desert appreciates all the adults who volunteer their time so that these youth can have such a wonderful formative experience. Councilmember Arnett commented that morning she saw some adults on their phones, but she did not see one youth on their phone because they were so enjoying being outside with friends and doing something fun. I also wanted to share with you that in addition to everything else, March is Blood Disorder Awareness Month. And we've received requests to particularly highlight this for the public. I encourage you to put those terms in your favorite search engine to read some of the genetic causes that can be involved and the encouragement to all of us to know our family health history. That includes our reports and comments, non-agenda public comments. This is the time for the public to comment on items which are not on tonight's agenda. As we get to agenda items, you will have a chance to comment on those. You may comment for up to 3 minutes. Because of the public meetings statutes, we will not be able to engage you in conversation about anything which is not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Mejia, do we have anyone in Zoom land who might be interested in commenting?
Perhaps, but I'll read the instructions. For those on Zoom, if you want to participate in public comment, please click the raise hand button on your computer or smartphone. If you're joining by calling in on your phone, please dial *9 to raise your hand, and when called upon, press *6 to unmute yourself. And please keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. And we do have somebody with their hand raised.
Please call upon that person.
Hello, my name is Dorian Whitney, and I've been a resident for 17 years. And I'm 25 years old, and I care a lot about the environment. As some of you may know, I have raised some issues. I just think it's a bit odd that we're talking about the water conservation when we still have the surf project going. which can easily be canceled and should, because it's a waste of our drinking water. So I don't know how we can talk about water conservation when there's that going on. And I heard somebody say, you know, Palm Desert will be the future greenest city in the valley. Why in the future when we can do that now? And, you know, I hope that some of you know that we are in a climate emergency. And, you know, I obviously don't have a prepared speech for today, but I think it's very important to speak out about this. And, you know, I'm gonna also reply to Jan Harnick's comments respectfully that, you know, the Palm Desert is, you know, in need of so much change. Like we can't come close to these environmental, you know, issues and fixing them without, you know, the most important things, which is transportation. And so, yeah, it's just really, we're just waiting for change, honestly. So please and thank you.
I see no other speakers in the Zoom room, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Greg Ackerman.
Thank you, and greetings to the council and staff. My name is Greg Ackerman, and I'm speaking to you as a resident of Palm Desert to ask for as much transparency as possible regarding the city's actions on the recently passed Measure B. Last November, Measure B asked the voters of Palm Desert whether or not they supported moving to 5 voting districts, and the clear answer was yes. And I'm finally sensing some movement on this issue, and it is appreciated. However, a concern that has recently been brought up in the press is whether the city is looking into any alternative voting systems other than 5 districts, which would fall outside of the question specifically asked in Measure B. I know big projects like this take a lot of time, and that a subcommittee has been created to look into the topic. And I want very much, as I'm sure you do, to avoid any appearance of secrecy or conspiracy. So in that spirit, I will suggest that an excellent gesture of transparency would be to publicly announce the next meeting of the 5 district subcommittee and allow the public to attend. That's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else have public comment? Is there any public comment on the consent calendar items?
I see no one raising their hand in the Zoom room.
Do any council members wish to remove any items?
I need to recuse myself on item P of the consent calendar due to a financial conflict.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve with that recusal noted?
I make a motion to approve.
I second, Madam Mayor.
Please take the vote.
Councilmember Harnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasteli,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla,
Aye.
Councilmember Truby,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 2A, request for direction on the walk and roll PD implementation plan, project number 565-21. I'll ask to receive the staff report before soliciting public comment.
I have too many papers.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of City Council. Randy Bowman. This will be my last City Council meeting presenting to you, and it's been a pleasure.
What?
I'm leaving.
I hadn't known that.
Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't heard. I think it's fun to, my last presentation that will be on one of my passions, which is active transportation. We are requesting direction from the city council on the Walk and Roll Palm Desert program. We presented the program on February 16th to the city council during a study session. And slides real quick. So the Walk and Roll program really is about filling gaps in the city's sidewalk and bikeway systems, focusing on the downtown core for sidewalk gaps and really looking throughout the entire city for gaps in the city's bicycle bikeway network, and really improving the user experience through connectivity, greater connectivity, improving safety, and really introducing greater comfort for the users, whether they're walking or riding. I always like to splash up a primer of our different bikeway types that are employed in the city of Palm Desert. Everything from class 1 shared use paths to class 4 separated cycle tracks. We have different examples of all 4 of these classes on various roadways throughout the city of Palm Desert. It's been a journey that started during COVID, and we've been working diligently to understand the gaps in the system. And here we are today with recommending a phased improvement program for implementing Walk and Roll. You can't do this without public involvement. The project team, which included a staff and city consultant, worked with stakeholders, conducted outreach meetings, set up an Engage Palm Desert page, as well as conducted a couple of study sessions with City Council, engaged with the ATP subcommittee of City Council, and really received a lot of good feedback and ideas from the community. So really, there's 3 types of gaps. There's the physical gaps. Bikeway simply does not exist. It starts and stops, and there's a gap in between. There's also comfort or level of traffic stress gaps where we have narrow class 2 bike lanes adjacent to roadways that are posted 45 miles an hour. And some cyclists, many cyclists don't feel comfortable riding in there. So that's a comfort gap. And then safety gaps, of course, where you come up to an intersection on a bike lane and it just simply doesn't stop and doesn't meet contemporary standards. Similarly with pedestrian gap analysis, where are there gaps where the sidewalks simply end, as well as how do we convey pedestrians safely across and through intersections. So really this program, the heart of it has been considering connectivity, safety, constructability, because some projects may be hard or expensive to construct. That was a question that was raised at the study session, and I have some slides to talk about sidewalk constructability. And then, of course, ease of use of the facility that may be presented to a user. These are some updated slides from the study session. So we are proposing a 3-year accelerated program for Walk and Roll PD that would result in the installation of 36.3 miles of upgraded or really brand new facilities throughout the community through a variety of implementation mechanisms, such as leveraging the city's annual slurry seal program, where we paint the road black, and that is a perfect opportunity to reintroduce or introduce bikeway facilities that meet contemporary standards. We also have the ongoing PD Link project, which is all about linking up the CV Link to downtown destinations such as El Paseo and our beloved San Pablo Avenue. Oh, I'd like to go back just a second. We're also leveraging a fire station, the brand new fire station project, the orange line at the top of the slide. We're proposing to widen Gerald Ford Drive for that fire station project, and that would include a brand new eastbound, I'll call it eastbound bike lane on Gerald Ford Drive. So we had to divide the city in half. So this is the southern half of the city. And the green I would like to celebrate is PD Link Phase 1, which was constructed just last month, and it was the installation of 8.6 miles of Class 3 shared roadway. We propose through Walk and Roll PD as well as PD Link Phase 2 to expand that network and achieve over the next 3 years total miles of 36.3 additional miles added to the system. And I thought I would convey that information a little differently, talking about the different programs or projects. PD Link, Walk and Roll. Haystack Road will introduce a 1.3 mile Class 4 roadway on the north side of Haystack Road. CV Link enhancements, we've been working with CVAG on, we've observed user behaviors, and there are some enhancements we should be making to the CV Link, such as signage and pavement markings. And then the other projects includes for instance, the new fire station. So in terms of follow-up to the study session, question was made about the gap in sidewalks on Fred Waring Drive. I thought it would be good to show a map and then an example of what challenges we have. This is the north side of Fred Waring from Cook Street to California. And there's a gap between California and Elkhorn about 3/4 of a mile long. And it's problematic to build a sidewalk because there's really no room behind the curb. There's an existing wall that comes up practically to the back of curb along Fred Waring. So that would be a real challenge to the community. And then in Indian Wells, which is the south side of Fred Waring Drive in the dark gray, there's a substantial gap there, about 2.5 miles. And the sidewalk ends just east of Cook Street and does not reappear until Warner Trail. In talking with our counterparts at the City of Indian Wells, there are presently no plans to build a sidewalk on the south side of Fred Waring Drive. However, they are conducting a local road safety plan, much like what the City of Palm Desert conducted 2 years ago. And they said that they heard the inquiry from Palm Desert staff and would consider that as part of their conduct of that study. Additional follow-up, what is the potential impact of constructing sidewalk along roadways where there are no sidewalks? And there's a variety of challenges that we may have. On the left is East San Gorgonio, east of San Pablo Avenue. This is just beyond the limits of the San Pablo Phase 1 project. Here you may have a sufficient room behind the curb, but you also have palm trees or other vegetation that you'll have to skirt around. There may be coordination issues with the root balls of the trees. So that has to be contended with by the design of the project. Catalina, west of San Luis Rey, we actually have some properties that have walls right up close to the back of curb. So the project team has been looking at where can the sidewalk, instead of being continuous on one side of the roadway, have a sidewalk that may alternate between sides of the roadways, but you'll shift from one side to the other at intersections with safe crosswalks and pedestrian facilities. And then lastly, San Juan, south of Parkview, another potential location for a sidewalk gap filling. Again, you have landscaping in the public right of way that is privately owned, and there'll have to be a lot of coordination with the property owners. There's also a question about speed awareness signs. Can we use those more in the community to help improve the safety of our roadways, particularly where we have residents walking in the streets? This is an outlay of all the speed feedback signs that we have in the community right now. We have even 2 portable trailers that we use when residents call in to request. And then also thinking about the future, the city has been working on a neighborhood traffic management plan, and 3 neighborhoods in the city have been used as case studies for the development of the traffic plan. And roadways such as California, Warner, and Grapevine, roadways that since I've been here, I've heard a lot of inquiries from residents about speeding on those roadways. Those could be great candidates as example for deploying more speed awareness signs. So here we are today, requesting a confirmation of the direction for the walk and roll program. That is a table that is attached to the staff report, as well as a map that is just one piece instead of dividing the city in half, that portrays the recommended program. If council so directs, the next steps would be to advertise the first project, which is leveraging our slurry seal program. And then advertising an RFP for the design build of several miles of bikeways that we would call walk and roll phase one, and then additional efforts that would commence upon direction from the city council. And I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Let me first see if there's any public comment on this item.
Yes, Dorian. If we could please elevate Dorian.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad this item is coming up today because, like I said, this is what I'm passionate about. This is, we have to prevent preventable deaths. And first, let me just say how crazy it is, the previous engineers, the way they've engineered this, to get us this no sidewalks in some sections and, 3 lanes when we don't need 3 lanes. As some of you may remember, I spoke about that, asking to reduce any 3 lanes we have to 2 lanes because, that works perfectly fine. I live part-time in LA and they hardly have 3 lanes anywhere there. And of course, we know the population there. And it just doesn't, we're being too cautious with traffic and, we're catering to the auto industry too much. I heard the presentation, they said, we're gonna widen a road for a fire truck. And I'm assuming it's gonna be from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, which, of course, that's, like I said, that really shouldn't be happening because it's really just adding a highway to the city. Once it's 3 lanes, it's a highway, and that just brings more danger. So, I understand and we appreciate the extra cautiousness and safety with fire trucks and traffic, but that's solved in other ways. And our city can handle it. We're very, very spread out. As you can tell, I'm outside. I'm here right by 111, and about the speed flashback signs, those have been proven to not even work. So that is just money wasted, and because people don't care, they see in front of their dashboard in their car how fast they're going. They don't care. So that if it's the residential areas, it should be speed humps. We could also do that instead of adding sidewalks because, like in Palm Springs, they have speed humps instead of sidewalks and it works great. People walk on the street, they walk their dogs on the street and cars go slow because they're forced to. So that's what I'm asking for. Just all of these things, we already know, I hope the engineers already know what's the right thing to do. So that's what I'm asking for. Please and thank you.
No other public comment, Madam Mayor.
Questions from council? Let's take questions first and then we can let Mr. Bowman sit down. Looks like you can sit down. Oh, 1 question. Yeah, 2. All right, stay right there. We'll start with Councilmember Drubey.
Okay, perfect. This is great. Just going to the financial impact. This is all Measure A money. And I know CV Link, PD Link, and Walk and Roll. Palm Desert's been an ongoing project for years before I got onto council. Just out of curiosity, what other considerations were given to other projects to use this Measure A money? Just to know how we arrived here at devoting it to this project.
I'll try to repeat the question that I think I heard, council member. Are there other, does the city use Measure A in other ways?
In particular for this 3.8 million, what other projects were considered and this one won out through the whole process?
So, with the passage of the budget for the current fiscal year, There was, I think, a recalibration of the use of Measure A to fund the active transportation program projects that were being developed at the time. Measure A also certainly funds everything from the maintenance of traffic signals, where we hire contractors to replace equipment, to resurfacing of the roadways, to other projects that install other elements within the public right of way. It's all about public right of way money is what Measure A is used for. So I don't think there was any project that was set aside in favor of this, but rather I think looking at how the wealth of Measure A funds that the city has, how to spend that and spend it effectively and frankly expediently.
And one of the things, now you're not leaving the city, you're staying on staff. You said this is your last meeting, but you're staying within city employment, aren't you?
No, I'm leaving the city.
Well, let's put that aside. Let's put that aside. Councilmember Nastante?
My speaker. So you mentioned in your wonderful presentation, very thorough, thank you, that you had talked with the city of Indian Wells about Fred Waring from Cook Street heading east, and that there wasn't really anything to do regarding the south side. On the north side, there is a very narrow sidewalk that I believe is Indian Wells jurisdiction. And I remember at the last presentation, I had inquired about it, and that sidewalk is so narrow, and there's a guardrail to trap you on the sidewalk if a car comes careening at you at 70 miles an hour. So you couldn't get out of the way. And there seems to be room to widen that sidewalk and have a guardrail to protect the pedestrian or bicyclist from Fred Waring Drive on that north section. Because what people do is they can take that sidewalk heading east, and then when they get to Toscana Country Club, they turn right at the traffic light and continue on El Dorado to Highway 111.
Council member, are you referring to the section that's like along the wash?
Yes.
Yes.
Can anything be done with it with these funds? Would it be something you could explore with the city of Indian Wells?
We will certainly convey your concerns to our peers at the city of Indian Wells. If the city manager has any other thoughts, so certainly happy to abide by those, but we would talk staff to staff would be my proposal.
I think that's right.
Okay. And then my second question, you showed a photo of Catalina and San Luis Rey and the street where it clearly shows you really could not have a continuous sidewalk because of what's there. But the street looks somewhat wide enough. Could you have like a bicycle lane, pedestrian lane on the street itself?
That could be a possible means of accommodating pedestrians. Just in a meeting with our walk and roll consultant this week, they showed, I'll call it an innovative way of accommodating pedestrians in the pavement area by striping out what might look like a bike lane, but actually it was for pedestrians only. Okay. That was done in a city that way. I forget what city it was.
Very good.
So that there could be examples out there. And I think that's as the consultant team works through the pros and cons of either constructing a sidewalk behind the curb or spaced away from the curb or reallocating the pavement area. I think that needs to be looked at in terms of pros and cons. And I've actually asked the consultant to provide that to the city team.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much, Mr. Bowman. I know this has been an ongoing project. We've seen you before us many times, and I appreciate you answering my inquiries on impacts on landscape. As we look at all of these various places that we will have the walk and roll, what is the plan for lighting? Because I know that there are some areas where there isn't as much available. Is there something we can do? I had a media interview recently and just regarding the cyclist that was unfortunately killed in Palm Springs. I think it was about 4 a.m. And we know that now we've got electric vehicles that don't make as much sound, or sometimes the wind doesn't let our cyclists hear the oncoming traffic. Is there any plan for future lighting, or is that something that can be rolled out to further enhance pedestrian safety or cyclists?
I think that's going to have to be a policy discussion. You know, as a matter of course, the city does not install, say, street lighting along streets. A few exceptions include, of course, the San Pablo project. But many of the streets that are proposed as part of this project are residential streets. And so they don't have lighting today. That's not been within the scope of the walk and roll project. It's been more about building those hardscape facilities. But I think it would have to be a policy decision that council and staff would have to noodle through. You know, we do install LED safety lights, of course, at traffic signals. And we've done that at some crosswalk locations to highlight the presence of those crosswalks. But as a matter of course, that's not something that the city has pursued along most roadways.
Thank you very much.
That seems to be all of the questions. Don't go far. Have a seat if you wish. This program has been long in the works and extremely well vetted with our subcommittee and our study session. Any discussion before motion? Councilmember Harnick.
Thank you so much. I wanted to really express my gratitude to Randy. This has been a long time in the making, and through multiple meetings and through a lot of engagement in the community, I think we've come up with a great project. And thank you. I know with all the different types of neighborhoods we have, and with all the new neighborhoods that are coming in, you've managed to kind of meld all of this and come up with something that'll serve the entire community well. So I do want to thank you for all your effort on this.
Councilmember Trupy.
Did you know I wanted to say something? Just reading my body language. Huh? All right. So yeah, I've had an opportunity to work. Again, this is more about the project's fabulous, and I've had an opportunity to work with Mr. Bowman for many, many years. Before I was on council as an advocate for active transportation, and I just think the world of him. I think the work he's done on behalf of our city, the expertise he brought to these projects was really, really professional, excellent, and elevated our city's infrastructure quite a bit. So sorry to hear it, and hope that we continue the kind of the ethos and the same emphasis on active transportation as we have with under your guidance. So thank you so much for your service.
Yes, Councilmember Nastande.
So are you wanting a motion at some
I
point?
am.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the wonderful presentation that Randy Bowman has presented to us.
Which approves the Walk and Roll PD implementation plan with
And I'll
today's date.
Exactly.
And I'll second that happily.
Please take the vote.
Councilmember Harnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla,
Aye.
Councilmember Trupy,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And Mr. Bowman, I do want to express my gratitude to you, in particular, for the very thorough and empathetic way in which you responded to our residents' traffic concerns, which is highly important and reflects the character we aspire to at Plum Desert. So, thank you. Item 2B, approve a professional services agreement, PSA, in the amount of $63,000 with Street Sense Consulting LLC for a market study of the vacant parcels at Desert Willow Golf Resort. May we have the staff report?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Eric Sayad, Director for Economic Development. Today, we wanted to present a potential market study that we'd like to go into contract with Street Sense Consulting. This is the same consultant the city used at looking at various alternatives for the mall site. And really, this is the genesis out of a city council goal where the city council has asked us to look at a strategy for the disposition of the Desert Willow properties. This consists of 4 separate properties totaling almost 58 acres. Any sort of disposition strategy has to be in compliance with the Surplus Land Act, as also with any SARTA requirements that we still have in place. This market study will help us identify demand for desired uses and actually look at a range of uses from hospitality, even short-term rental communities, retail uses, and even single family and multifamily for the site. We think this is important to understand kind of the near-term market demand that could be at this property, and it'll help us as we go to market the property through the Surplus Land Act process. We did take this proposal to the Economic Development Subcommittee, and they had support for this. Next slide. And so we'd like to really work with the Street Sense group to initiate this plan. This is approximately an 8-week study. You did receive a memo that the pricing was incorrect, listed at $63,000. It's actually $68,000. So we would like you to note that so we can amend the contract and get that executed with the city manager. Other than that, I'm available to answer any questions.
Any public comment on this item?
No public comment in the Zoom room, Madam Mayor.
Questions for Mr. Zaha? This follows up on a discussion at our goal setting session very quickly, I might say. So commendations for that. Any discussion, or since we asked for it, shall we just approve it? Councilmember Arnick.
Oh, I really didn't mean for my little hand to go up there, but as long as it has, I am so pleased that it happened so quickly. And I just, let's keep this on fast forward. And I would like to move approval of the recommendation as presented.
I would like to second with a great commendation to staff for such a great report.
Very good. Please take the vote.
Councilmember Harnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla,
Aye.
Councilmember Truby,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And that is with the corrected number. Item 2C, introduce an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Desert replacing Chapter 3.30 in its entirety and rescinding ordinances number 224, 423, 586, 927, 928, 986, 1162, 1166, 1204, 1229, 1276, 1317, and 1335. There'll be a pop quiz in a second relative to the purchasing system and public works contracts. Ms. Chavez.
So since you did all the heavy lifting, I'll keep this one short and sweet. We are going through our policies and procedures for the finance department and bringing them forward from time to time. The purchasing policy, we want to clarify procurement methods, update the city manager's purchasing threshold, and allow for some flexibility and efficiencies that we're identifying throughout the year. In order to do that, what we're requesting is an update. Let me move this. From our current levels, our threshold for the city manager from 50,000 to 75,000, sorry. And then we'd like to add a layer of informal bid from qualified vendors from $75,001 to $250,000, and then make formal bids be $250,000 and over. This follows the current CUPCA rules, which is, it's an acronym and I know I need to spell that out. give me one second. It's the California Uniform Procurement.
Public Construction
Thank
Cost
you.
Accounting Act.
Thank you. And so it follows those same rules, but at different threshold levels. And we believe that these levels are appropriate given the increasing costs that we're seeing across the board with all of our projects and would facilitate those projects more efficiently. I'm happy to answer any questions on the changes we're making.
Any public comment on this item?
No public comment, Madam Mayor.
Any questions of staff? Like everything else, the numbers are going up. Yeah. So what you could buy for $50,000 a couple of years ago will cost at least $75,000. Comments? Would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the recommendation to introduce an ordinance of the city
You
council.
don't have to read
it?
the whole thing.
Okay. I thought with all those numbers you had read, I had to have it in the record
No.
again.
I-
Okay,
Once is enough.
okay.
So
I
you may move to approve and pass to a second reading.
Yes, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Please take the vote.
Councilmember Harnick,
Yes.
Councilmember Nastandi,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla,
Aye.
Councilmember Truppi,
Yes.
Mayor Harnick. I'm sorry, Mayor Kelly.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
that concludes our business for this evening. So hearing no objection, we will be adjourned.
May I add one final comment? In
Please.
support or in following with the bleeding disorder awareness, we will be having a blood drive coming very soon next month. So I wanted to encourage everyone to make time to visit the mobile donor, the blood mobile, or just schedule to go to live stream. You can save lives out there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.